Hi, I'm Gary Hoey, and I'm here to talk to you about the Rocktron Prophesy II guitar preamp. This is the second installment of the preamp, and I've been around since the beginning of the Prophesy line, so I know a lot about it. And this latest one actually has some of my custom presets that come with it when you buy it, along with Dave Mustaine, Jimi Bell, and Cooley. So there's some artist presets in this when you get it home. I wanted to say one of the unique things I liked about this preamp the first time I checked it out was the front of it is laid out a lot like a traditional amplifier. The controls are right there as if you were actually adjusting a real amplifier. You have your gain control, your bass, your mid, treble, presence, and your master volume. And these controls, as soon as you touch one of the controls, right above it, you'll see the LED change. So if I want to change the gain control, as soon as I touch that, it's going to change, okay? Just like that. There's our gain. If I move to the bass control and I start changing that, the bass is going to change. Same with the mid, the treble, and the presence. So what's nice is you could be at a live gig and instantly say, man, this stage is kind of boomy. I think I'm going to roll off my bass. You can walk right over just like adjusting an amp and change the bass control. So these settings right here are instantly accessed. Now, if you look to the left, you have your preset control. This is how you'll actually just dial up your sound. As soon as I turn that, it's going to change to the new preset, okay? Then if you move down to this side, this is the page control. This is going to actually make you go through each one of the settings that you can use for a chorus, flanger, wah-wah, whatever effect you're going to use. There's your preamp. Then as I move it through, I can now adjust all the different EQ settings for that preset. So the great thing is you can delve very deep into the programming, or if you just want to go real simple and say, hey, I just want to add some more treble, you just grab the treble and turn it up. If you decide I want to change the actual frequency of the treble, then you'll go over to the page control and you'll start moving into the EQ setting. And this will let you actually, if you notice it says right here, you've got 1,000 hertz. I can change this to a different frequency by changing that. Okay, and the bandwidth, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, bandwidth is how wide is that frequency going to change? Is it going to be a narrow frequency, or is it going to have a wide bandwidth? That's what the bandwidth is going to adjust. And you have your pre-shelf and these other controls that will get more deep into the EQ. So here's your basic page to get through the detailed processing. Now, another key thing is when you change sounds, I want you to notice underneath the title, it says delay. Now, you can program different effects to be aligned with each one, but when you call up a preset, it's going to tell you right away what is being used to create this sound. You can see here the ADSR is a function that this processor has, which has a pluck control, and this will adjust that. Also, the rotary speaker control is in here, and also a delay. If I keep moving to another patch, you'll see now this one has a pitch control. So if you see one of these come up under the preset, it means that that sound is used to create that sound. Now, how do you assign the different effects to each sound? Let me move a little bit over to the side here, and you're going to see a panel with a bunch of buttons that you can push. Now, these buttons, almost think of this button control, almost think of this section here as a giant foot pedal controller on the floor. Imagine that this is going to give you a way to access these buttons by just pressing one of these buttons. Now, what you'll do is you come over here and you can page through, okay, I'll show you here, and all of a sudden it's going to say post effect 1. And where it says post effect 1, you can see it has a duck or delay, right? If I turn it to post effect 2, it says pitch shift. If I go to 3, it says empty. Now, as soon as I see the word empty, I can come back over to here and I can say, well, let me try adding, let's say, a tremolo. So I can press tremolo, and now the tremolo settings will come up, and I can adjust my tremolo controls. And if I want to change the depth or the rate or the triangle, I can change it. I can change that setting. Now, when I go back to this preset, if I back up now to the page, I can bring in my tremolo. Okay, now it's assigned. I come up to store, and I hit store. It says destination. I'm just going to store it right there. Now it's been stored. Okay, now if I come over here to my effect here, I'm going to have my delay, and I'm going to have my pitch, and I'm going to have my tremolo. As soon as I hit the sound, I hit the patch, I'm going to have my harmonizer. If I press down on modulation, I got my rotary. If I push down on my tremolo, it's going to come up right here. There's my tremolo. Okay? Now if I move to another patch, like here's the one that has, it says chorus and delay. If I come over here to modulation, you're going to be able to pull up your chorus right here. Okay? There's your chorus. Now if I move over to here and I press, say if I press delay, it's going to come up. If I press modulation, it's going to come up. If I press phaser, it says this effect has not been assigned. So you have to make sure that you assign what effect you want to use with what patch, and then that will enable you to have that included in the sound. Because this effect unit does a lot of different effects, so you have to decide which one you want to have with the patch that you're using. Okay? Another interesting thing is the reverb is always accessible. So it doesn't matter what patch you have on. If you hit that reverb button, you can now pick the hall sound that you want, or you can pick a stadium, or you can pick a room or a plate and get many different reverb sounds. So you can always access the reverb, and if you go to your page control, you can now move up to the reverb where you can adjust how much of the reverb is going to be on the effect. You can adjust the amount of reverb. Okay, and if I back up here now, I'm back to my assigning my effects. I go back to my sound, and if I keep moving, let's move through another sound here. Okay, this one here is called Leslie. So you're going to hear there's going to be like a rotary sound. So that's going to give my rotary sound. Now if I want to add reverb to that, I just press the reverb button. Reverb comes up. I can change it. If I want to have a stadium sound, now it's going to get to be a bigger reverb. Okay, if I page through the reverb sound here, I can adjust my reverb right here. Okay, I can shut it off. The reverb's gone. All right, so you can see by working with these buttons in combination with your preset, you can basically assign any effect to any preset that you want. You hit store up here once it starts flashing. You can also compare the sound to what you started with and what you're adding to it. And then as you move through your patches, you can see what's been assigned and what hasn't been assigned. Okay? Now the preamp section of this process is great because once you touch the gain control, you can then go over to the page and you now have either Mega Drive, Vintage British, Texas Blues, or Clean. So as soon as you touch the gain control, you can then go in and change what the preamp setting is going to be. It's just a matter of that instant setting right there is going to bring you right over to your preamp section. So it's very interactive, the way that the Prophecy II works. Again, I think it works a lot like an amplifier where you can instantly make access to what you need and then add on your effects just like as if you had a pedal board sitting on the floor. The back of the unit has everything you need as well. It has your direct recording out. It has line out for recording in an amp. It has MIDI. It has all your foot switch capabilities. It even has an output for a guitar tuner. So if you want to plug in a tuner and have it in your rack so that it's always on, there's actually a separate output for the guitar tuner to go directly into that. Basically, this processor, the bottom line is it sounds amazing. There's a lot of versatility, and this processor can go as deep as you want to go. If you want to get into the, to all the different bandwidth and all the frequencies of what you can get out of your tone, the Prophecy II is absolutely going to give you that. And another thing, the manual that comes with the Prophecy II is one of the most complete and comprehensive manuals that I've ever seen. A lot of manuals, when I look at them, I find very confusing to understand, but Rocktron is amazing at making a manual easy to understand and making diagrams that as soon as you look at the diagram, my guitar is making noise here. As soon as you look at the diagram, it's going to show you very clearly how things are going to connect together and how they're going to patch together with the diagrams that they create. So I highly recommend, read your manual. I'm sure a lot of you are just like me. You buy your unit and you turn it on, you just want to get to work, and that's absolutely fun. But after a few days of rocking out with it, take out the manual, because it's definitely going to take you to another level if you can take a chance to look at this.